What's up, you guys? This is Devin from Project Sax, and I know I've been gone for a while, but I'm trying to introduce this new series called Major Scale. Now, it's going to be free, like most things on Project Sax. I'm trying to teach you something on the saxophone that's free, but today we're going to be working on the major scale. And the major scale, I think, is one of the most important building blocks for learning your instrument. Now, when you think major scale, you're not thinking, I'm going to be the best instrumentalist in the world, but it's very, very important. It's one of the fundamentals. And you know how people are like, fundamentals, you gotta learn them to be the best. Well, you gotta learn them to get better. Of course, yeah, you're gonna have to learn them to be one of the better instrument players. So I want to teach you guys the scales for free. But if you need help, you're probably going to get a method book that has the fingerings and the the fingerings. Usually it's in the front or the back of the book that tells you how to finger your instrument, if you don't know how to finger your instrument as of yet. But for the first couple of scales, it's going to be pretty easy as long as you know the simple first 8 notes, I guess. Let's see, you have various scales. How should I put this? Various scales that are vary in difficulty. Let me rephrase that. Scales vary in difficulty, right? So when you are learning your scales, you want to learn them in a certain order. And I usually learn my scales, whether it's in major, minor, in the circle of fifths or the cycle of fourths. Or is it said the other way around? But anyway, it's the exact same thing. If you go on to Google, you can look it up, you can print it out. Also, if you need a fingering chart, you can look it up on Google, print it out, and hey, you have your own method book. All of this stuff is online, guys. But major scales, we're going to be doing them for the saxophone. So also, if you want to look those up and go over it while I go over it with you, that's fine as well. Also, one more thing. When you are going about your major scales, there are 2 things you really need to understand. There is the saxophone key. This saxophone is in the key of E flat, for those of you who don't know. And that's basically just saying it's tuned to a certain note, it's tuned to a certain, size and width. For those of you in the comments who actually know the depth of what being tuned in B flat or E flat means, but generally it means your saxophone plays a certain note while the other instrumentalists in the band play a different note to achieve the same sound. That's basically all it is. So basically, if I were playing a soprano saxophone, which is tuned in the key of B flat, I will play my C and you will play your G. That's the same note, that's the same pitch, but a different note on the instrument. So my G is the soprano saxophone's C. You see what I'm saying? Because we're a different size instrument. And there's a lot of methodology or theory behind that, but generally all you need to know is the concert key and the major key. So basically, the major key, usually I'm going to say major key, and that's going to be the key that's specific to this horn or whatever horn I'm playing for these tutorials. And then you have the concert key. That's the general key that everybody listens to, that they're going to have to transpose to get to their key. Now I'm going to tell you both of them. The major key is going to be the transposition, and the concert key is going to be the main key that everybody knows, to transpose from. So if I say the first scale we're going to play today is going to be the key of, E flat. That's the first scale that I want to play today. If the scale is in concert E flat, it's going to be the C major for the alto saxophone. That means when I say C major, that means you have no sharps, no flats. Also, that means you start on the key of C. That's the root note that you start on. Now, these are basics that you might want to go over. You might want to get a little chart online. You can look it up on Google and transpose. You could say C major is what for the alto, or E flat major is what for the alto saxophone. Or C major is what for E flat instruments. And you can get a whole transposition chart. I tell you, everything's online. So today we're going to go on the cycle of fifths slash or let's see, the cycle of fifths. It's just a I guess it's just a guideline. It's something much deeper, but in reference for today, it's just a guideline of the way you should learn your scales. And the reason I'm going this way is because scales vary by difficulty, and when you have the earlier scales, they're not as complicated as the later scales in your musical journey. So we're going to start with the key of E flat, which is the key of C for saxophone. That's E flat, concert E flat. That's C major for the alto saxophone. So it means we're starting on C. C. And if you don't know the fingerings, please look in the description below, or you can also look it up if you don't know the fingerings online. So this is concert E flat major scale, or C major for the alto saxophone. Yep, so there you go. It might sound basic, but generally that's what you want to achieve, that basic structured sound. And when you get, when you feel like you know it, then you add them. My mentor always tells me to add the ninth of the scale, so. So you can do whatever you want to once you get that under your fingers, to make it harder for yourself, to make it, spruce it up, to, think outside of the box, and then you get to your arpeggio. Arpeggio is just an interval of notes, the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 7th of the scale. Now usually they outline a chord. So when you're playing the arpeggio, you're just jumping to what I think are some of the most important notes in the scale in succession. So it sounds something like this. 1 3 5 or 1 3 5 7, however you want to say that. Let's see, or 1 3 5, excuse me. No 7, I was thinking something else. But 1 3 5, and then going back down. 1 3 5, 1 3 5, top note or root note, and going back down. So hit it one more time. So that's basically an arpeggio. We're going on to the next scale. The reason I chose this scale today, remember, is because it has no sharps, no flats. That's kind of the center of the circle of fifths. But also, we're going to go to the next scale, which is the concert B flat, which is the G major scale for the alto saxophone. I hope you guys learn from these, and I'm Devin, wishing you good sound.